Hi there. Alfred and I are here again. It's Saturday afternoon. We're working away. And I thought I'd share something with you. Something's really been bugging me about mounting these gas tanks. So the tanks I'm getting are from Lowbrow. Cool tanks. One's going to be a Sportster tank. And then I have this Alien tank. They're both, I think, what Lowbrow calls a Frisco mount. Which has these tabs that are rounded to match the frame. And that makes sense, but what doesn't make sense to me, what hasn't made sense, and I've really been thinking this through, is you have that rounded piece, but the installation technique is to put a couple of these bungs, and I'll just hopefully I can get you a good view of that, a couple of these bungs into the backbone, into the frame. So you drill, drop this in, TIG weld it, very nice. The problem I have is this is round, this is flat. When this goes on here, it's digging in on each side. Now, leather washer, great idea for vibration and everything. Makes total sense, but it doesn't really fix the problem that this thing is going to dig in and eventually dig into the paint job. Also, the stability, I'm questioning a little bit. So, oh sorry, the other thing too is that the head of the bolt is also flat and it's going to be on the top side here, so it's only getting pressure essentially on the high spot as well. I thought about making a piece that would sit in here, be flat on one side and curved on the other to match this. That could get welded in. Now you got a flat spot to flat spot, but again, it doesn't fix the problem on the top with the bolt. And then if you get into making another bung or shim, whatever you want to call it, now you got something on the top, something on the bottom. So then I came up with an idea last night. I was sitting thinking about it. And what Alfred did here earlier is using a hole saw and 1/8 inch flat material. He drilled out 4 of these, which are almost 3/4 of an inch OD. They've got a nice pilot hole in the center, which if we have to upsize it for a 5/16 bolt won't be a problem. Mark our locations. We're going to drill this out. I'm going to TIG weld some of those plugs in, and then we'll see on the frame how that's going to work, and we'll move to putting these bungs in the frame. So what I've done is I followed Tyler's instructions on the Lowbrow video, largely, for the most part. And I did a few things a little bit differently. The plan was to make a 1/8 washer that would weld, and let me get this where you can see it, so it would weld into the tab on the tank. It made a really nice recess for the head of the bolt, and I'll show you that when I put it back together here. Actually, I can show you right here. So there's the front one, and you can see how nicely that chrome Allen head bolt is going to sit down in that recess, which is a really nice flush. To me, it looks good. It looks professional. Once it's painted, you know, those edges are finished and everything, I think it's going to be really good. So the plan here was to make flat surfaces. So I wanted everything to be flat on flat, both for where things are bolted together, and I wanted some flat on the frame here so that things would seat properly. So the first thing we did, we drilled the bigger hole in these tabs, put that washer in place, and TIG that washer in. With a little bit of filler around here when I do the tank. There's other spots that need to be filled as well. So when I do that, that's going to smooth this out. It's going to look great. The main thing is I was able to take a die grinder bit And when you do this, turn the speed on the die grinder way down. You want it so you can stall it out real easy, but you don't want any chipping, that carbide burr to be grabbing like they always do and stuff like that. If you turn the speed way down and you're real gentle with the pressure, you can just go in and take high spots off real slow, real smooth. So I was able to do that, not only to smooth out some of the weld, but to get the angle right. Because the angle of the top hat bung, the angle of this bung in the frame is critical. If it's cocked back or leaning forward, then you're kind of defeating the flat surface idea. So once I had this welded in, got this set up, I was able to take the bung, and I had to shorten up a couple of these 5/16 coarse fasteners. All I had was long ones. I'm gonna have to order some short ones too. But anyway, put that in there. Let me just get this on here. So to accommodate the top hat bung, what I did was just with a hand file, totally manual process, no magic. I didn't want to go at it with a grinding burr or anything like that, because it's the type of thing where I didn't want to take too much material away, because then you got another problem. So just with a not very expensive, just a hand file, I was able, and I hope this shows up on this camera, I was able to file across after I had drilled the holes with a step drill, by the way, because it gives you a nice clean hole. And that's described in the lowbrow video as well. So I was able to get my holes drilled, marked them, drilled them. They're sized right, everything is good. The top hat bung fits real nice in there. So then I shaved that down carefully with the hand file. What I was also able to do with the flat spot here and these held in place real nice, I was able to drop it in and shine a flashlight from the backside and see where I could see light. And initially the bung was sitting, it was sitting so there was a little bit of light at the front. So I was able to take a little more material off the back, get it to sit down a little bit more. Now I've got a nice fit on the flat, to the flat edge of that bung. So when we drop this on, like that, now the tank is centered, it's sitting on flat spots. I am going to run between the bung and the tab, the flat washer, I am going to run those leather washers that Lowbrow has. And I'm going to do that not for the biggest reason I'm going to do that is just to protect the paint, because the frame is going to be painted gold. This particular tank is going to have gold and green and stuff on it. And just to protect them when I'm taking these off, putting them back on a lot, rather than having the paint on paint squished together hard when you torque these down, I'll just run one of those leather washers in there. It's going to add a little bit more height to this, but once it's compressed, it won't be bad. I'm really happy with this. I'm happy with the way this mounts now. I'm happy with those flat surfaces. I think that's going to be really good. There's a little bit of height here, but I needed it, not so much on this tank, but on the Sportster tank, the angle fitting for the fuel shutoff was actually really close, well, touching, which is really close, I guess, the rocker box cover here. So with this, I don't know, what is that, 1/4 of an inch, something like that, with that extra gap, and I moved the tanks forward a little bit from where I had originally planned. Now that 90 degree clears this cover and I've got a safe amount of space, so I'm good with that as well. All in all, I think it's a good system. I think it's worked out. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this tank off of here. I'm going to take those bungs, set them in. I'm going to tack them so I can still make some fine adjustments if I have to. I don't think I'm going to have to because everything is pretty tight here. And I do have those flat surfaces for the bung to sit on. So it should be all good. So I'm going to get those tacked in place. That's the gas tank mount for now. Thanks for watching.